says, hey, but the Ford Escort Cosworth wasn't available in the US. I know. I will explain that shortly. So anyway, we have Bunta's Subaru Impreza the Ford Escort Cosworth as Bunta's Subaru Impreza. So the main ground rules for the series were: 1, the car has to be made by an American manufacturer. It does not have to be an American model. For example, this Ford is very much an American manufacturer. Just the Escort Cosworth was not in the United States. The second was that the performance class had to be somewhere in S1, like preferably middle of S1, which this is. And the third rule was no conversions on any of the cars unless explicitly stated in the show, or if some of the older cars, like the Monte Carlo from the last episode, with the stock engines couldn't make enough performance to keep up with the others, so had to do an engine swap. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show you guys how to get this car looking the way it does, and then build, tune, and take it to the mountain pass. Starting with the color, it's the manufacturer blue, and the wheels are the stock color, and the windows are tinted black. It's basically all you gotta do to get this car looking how this does. Obviously conversions, there are none. I think this might be the only car in this series that's actually all-wheel drive. Like one of the only ones. And as far as aero, I opted to leave everything stock. Although I did like this wing, I didn't like the spare tire on the roof, so I didn't end up going with that. Oh. Huh. In my defense, I built this car like 2 months ago. So I'm wondering why I didn't. You know what? Well, I'm doing it now. I went with the race rear bumper, whatever that does. Oh, it adds the tow hook. There we go. So I did that, then I did change the hood, which just added hood pins. And the side skirts, I just like the rally aesthetic of the mud flaps. It's my own personal preference to put those on. You don't have to if you don't want to. My reason for changing the wing right now, because that's definitely very Subaru-ish wing. So for tires, semi-slick race tire compound, you could do the black walls, you could do the white letters, or you can do the red lines, whichever you prefer, as long as it's the semi-slick compound. For tire width, 225 in the front, and 225 in the rear. Moving on to the wheels, I believe these are in the sport rim style, right? Yes, the 1552 forged monoblock Pentas is what I have on here. And they're already bronze, so that works. Then we have the upgraded front track width. You want the narrowest one. For the rear, you want the widest one. I should clarify that in the front, you want the narrowest one that is not stock. Moving on to the drivetrain, you want the race clutch, race transmission, race driveline, and drift differential. Then you want the race brakes, race suspension, race front anti-roll bars disconnected for inactivity. No way. Very much active right now. Race anti-roll bars in the rear, no roll cage, and race weight reduction. Moving on over to the engine bits, you want the race intake, race fuel system, race ignition, race valves, race cams, race exhaust, race block, race pistons. You want the race turbo. If you want, you could do anti-lag. I opted not to because this isn't really a rally build. Excuse me. Race flywheel, race oil and cooling, and finally race intercooler. Moving on to the tune. I guess I need to install. I can't just back out because I did change the spoiler. Or wing. This is technically a wing. Alright, there we go. Now for the tune, tire pressure 26 in the front, 29 in the back, PSI. Gearing 2.20 final drive, the rest remains stock. Alignment 0.6, or negative 0.6 in the front, negative 0.3 in the rear for camber. Then the toe, positive 1.5 outward in the front, negative 1.0 inward for the rear, front caster angle of 5.5. Anti-roll bars 24.3 in the front, 13.5 in the rear. Springs, for the front 447.5, for the rear 327.6. And for the ride height 4.7 in the front, 4.1 in the front, 5.7 in the rear. I almost said 4.7, well I did say 4.7 and then 5.1. My brain got a little jumbled, but it's 4.1 and 5.7 as you can see. For the damping, the rebound you want 6.6 in the front, 6.0 in the rear. Then for the bump, 4.0 in the front, 1.0 in the rear. Aero should be stock. If you followed what I said, that should not be able to change this. Balance 55% towards the front, and pressure 75% for the brakes. Finally, for the differential, for the front you want 15 acceleration, 5 deceleration. For the rear you want 80 acceleration, 15 deceleration. Center balance of 75% towards the rear. Ooh, man, the tunes are a mouthful. Okay, on to the mountain pass. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. We're going to race from this point there, all the way to the bottom. A few points I want to make before we get started is, first of all, this is not a drift car. It does possess the capability of drifting, so the score, just kind of ignore it. It's not really going to be that high. Secondly, this portion of the video is basically just so you guys can get to see how the car handles, how it drives, how it performs, and whatnot. And thirdly, I haven't driven this car since I built it about a month and a half ago, if not longer. So probably not going to be my best driving performance. But let's get on into it. Okay, I did go completely off the road right there, but my sort of ground rules for doing these runs is that as long as I'm inside the bounds of the drift zone and I don't get marked for failure, I'm fine. Dang, if I would have downshifted a little bit sooner, I probably could have slid that corner pretty cleanly. Also, like to say in my defense, for being 3 tires on the inside of the road limit there, in my defense, this is a rally car. And that right there, that was only one tire off the road. And FI rules is 2 tires must be within track limits at all times. I'm just throwing out every excuse in the book right now to justify my inability to put up a decent driving performance right now. Right here, I kind of have to rip the handbrake just because of how tight that hairpin is. And just like that, we are at the bottom. Now, we're going to do some donuts. That's how we end off all the videos around here. Now with all that being said and done, firstly, that's pretty sick how I centered it in the lane unintentionally. And with all that being said and done, well, I guess I already said with all that being said and done. Now it says weird because it sounds weird because I said it 3 times. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. And for some reason my controller is disconnected. That is all from me today. As soon as I get this controller to reconnect, which it's for some reason it's not wanting. Okay, now my screen's black. What is going on right now? Huh. Okay, yeah, that's all from me today.